Hello, everybody. Today, this is a open weekly. This is the Sunday one. This is a ALTTP daily race on Speed Gaming 5. Today, we have Golfer Bolts, Nash Sauter, I think that's how you pronounce that name, Arturus Chusky, and Legendary Moon. And this is actually a kind of a special daily race for y'all. So this is these are 4 runners that were in the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament this year. Smirk JD, one of the people within the community, had decided to make a farewell race today, and there is also going to be another stream happening on the Goma Podcast Twitch channel if you want to check that out as well. They have a couple more runners there too, that's also from the 4. Hopefully they have it still there. I don't know. But I'm Professor Render. I'm with Mendium here, and I have Sapphire and Sorcerer's Finch on the tracking. How are you doing?
Doing well, and looking forward to what certainly pretends to be an interesting race. Now, these runners, a handful of months ago, probably 3.5 months ago now, ran a couple of asyncs that the Go Mode Podcast put together to try and determine who was going to be in the Mentor Tournament this year, since they had more people than they could conveniently fit in. Now, in the intervening months, they have played 6 rounds of Swiss, with mentors helping them pretty much every step of the way, and then gone through a playoff bracket stage. All of those bracket stages are now over and have been for a few weeks now, but these are some of the runners who were involved in that, who have stuck around, who are now well and truly part of our community, and who I think are going to put on a very nice show for us this afternoon.
Very much so. Yeah, we have it set up so that one runner on each corner of the screen has been in each one of the 4. There's one runner per bracket that was in the tournament. That being Fighter, Master, Tempered, and Gold Sword brackets. And we're underway here. We have 20 rupees at Link's house.
Yes, representing the Fighter Sword bracket was the 5th seed in Fighter Sword, Legendary Moon. Our Master Sword bracket representative, Arcturus Chusky, was the 12th seed there. Tempered Sword representative, Nash Sauter, was the 5th seed, and we have the 12th seed of the Gold Sword, so we're going 5, 12, 5, 12 up the list. Golfer Bolts was 12th seed for Gold Sword bracket.
Yeah, this is a significant thing. The reason why I joined the commentary for this one, because I was a mentor for only did like 3 mentor matches or so, but I at least gave some of my help here. We have Uncle with a heart container, and the secret chest is going to be 20 rupees.
A little more money, but not bomb money just yet. Going to see a whole bunch of save and quits to the Sanctuary, of course. We'll see what's hiding out in the poor box. The Moon Pearl is not a bad get.
Yeah, it's a Moon Pearl. Part of our Dark World access. It's either hammer glove or mitts. Or I like to consider the latter part. I consider partial Dark World access, because you don't have if you don't have like a hammer or flippers, then you don't have access to the right side of the Dark World where Pod's at.
And we have a little divergence here. Nash has decided to go and take just enough money with 11 rupees left over to buy some bombs, and appears to be maybe heading towards the Hosteless Closet here, while everybody else is kind of heading on in a generally village-ward direction.
Play that I don't really know about. Well, I think it's interesting, this play. Considering that you have enough money to get yourself some bombs, 50 for a pack of 10, getting the Saucer play early may be nice. It will take them a while to get to there if there's something here. Which case it's okay. Oh.
There's a thing that's there. Also, before we get way on by it on the other 3 screens, we have seen that there is a glove at the Lumberjack. We have a 100% aggro required seed for our season's mentees here.
So that's an interesting position for the gloves. Yes, it is 100% 100% aggro required, because you absolutely need mitts no matter what in order to get to GT or even Dark Death Mountain.
But at the same time, we could find the other glove somewhere and the hammer, and we already have the Moon Pearl, and it could just be a case of defeat Aga when you actually need to get your meds.
So Nash, taking advantage of the fact that Sahasrara had a bow heading into Eastern, this makes a lot of sense, considering that you're right close to where the bow you're normally gonna get the bow in the vanilla game. You may as well get some arrows. I would not be surprised to see Nash attempt to do the dark room in the back to get to Armos Knights.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. That is a room that sometimes even more experienced runners have a little bit of a lack of comfort level with. Not so much initially, but if it goes wrong, it can really go wrong in a hurry.
Yeah, and we also did see information that there was a big key on the right side chest, so Fire Rod is a legal fire source for the back.
Meanwhile, all the rest of our runners over in the village appear to have turned up a sword in Blind's hideout, along with a 300 and a handful of other things that were a little less interesting.
We also get a mushroom off of the well, which it's interesting. It's an early fetch quest. Now, if that was a Samaria, we would just need a hammer to just do a fake powder, but it's not. It's a Burna.
It feels like usually when you find a mushroom that early, you're going to find some kind of value on it. Not a hard and fast rule, but it certainly seems to be the way seeds play out. And here we have a second sword in the chicken shack.
So we're getting close to that Dark World, that Aga play that we were mentioning for Dark World access specifically. So if that ever does comes the case, then well, we already know there's a glove on Lumberjack. We just need the boots to get it. Now, unfortunately, we didn't see what the big chest was for Nash or the other chest that was just from the spiral staircase down. But seeing that we got the big key chest and looking like Nash heading over to get to the back, this looks like this is going to be a play to finish up this dungeon.
It looks like it. The arrow count is a little low on Nash's side at the moment, and this is one of those situations where if you have a sword to guide you in the dark here, it's substantially easier. In this case, we have the Popos that are going to try and block him in the dark and still need to... Oh, he's going to throw a bomb. Interesting strat. I like it. I like it a lot, in fact.
Yeah, well, it's not a sword. It's still enough to take care of the Popos, and all you really need to do is just figure out where that... where the Igor's at, and then just shoot. And then once you find there's like your arrow gets stopped, then you can just shoot it, and then you have to worry about next is just the other Igor that torments you. So unfortunately, Nash would have to get out of that room, just reset himself, just to make sure he doesn't die. So he's gonna go back again. He's placing a bomb down to take care of the Popos, or just see where he's going. Either or, but makes it through.
The rest of our runners moving on towards Mini Moldorm Cave here, and welcome to our raiders from Speed Gaming 2, Party of 75. This is the Speed Gaming Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race, a Sunday open seed. We are featuring 4 runners from the just completed a handful of weeks ago Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament today.
Yeah, we have 4 runners that represent each one of them representing a different bracket from that tournament. Fighter, Master, Tempered, and Gold Sword brackets. going in from the top left all the way down to the bottom right, descending downwards from gold to fighter.
And our runners who are on the South Shore Loop have found a glove. Also a bottle.
So there's a glove there. Still we might need if we get a lamp or something, then I would probably just go ahead and kill Aga right away. Because I already know that there is a glove on Lumberjack. Because yeah, by the way, there is a glove on Lumberjack that is 100% required.
And Nash pulling down that first crystal of the match at 8 minutes and a half. A very speedy first crystal here.
Yeah, and now Nash is going to go ahead and start doing the play that everyone else has did, getting that Moon Pearl, being the one that struck first blood here, taking advantage of the fact that that Nash had went on a big divergence from everyone else, going over to buy bombs from the cave shop that's just above Lake Hylia, and then pulling a bow from Sashra's hut to finish up Eastern, which was a crystal.
Legendary Moon appears to be heading into the range of that bow, while Golfer Bolts and Arcturus have found nothing particularly interesting here in the back of the escape sequence, except a small key which is going to let them go check Dark Cross in the dark.
This one is a little tough without a fire rod or obviously the lamp. Because the thing about about Dark Cross is that you get ambushed by ropes, from the top and bottom. Like, I think if you go from the bottom, you're gonna get ambushed from by ropes. If you go from the top, they'll probably catch up to you, and then you'll get ambushed by ropes. So, it is a little tough, and not to mention too, you also have to find the chest while in the dark. You can kind of like feel it out, and then just mosey on over to where the bottom of the chest and open it. But it takes a bit of time. It takes a lot of time to get it.
Well, Arcturus managed to hang on to sword beams the whole way, dealt with all of the ropes, and has already found the Cane of Samaria in the dark. It looks like Golfer Bolts is having a little trouble managing to grab hold of that chest here right at the end.
Okay, so Samaria's nice here. It doesn't do much right now because we're not even like anywhere towards like Maya or Turtlerock anytime soon. But it does if we get, I mentioned this earlier, if we get a hammer, then we can fake powder to get magic bat, and then we'll have a mushroom available for the mushroom turn-in.
Now we have a little more divergence here. It looks like Golfer Bolts wants to go ahead and check front of escape, while Arcturus is heading over to that eastern area, going to have the bow here momentarily, and then will most likely join Legendary Moon in Eastern Palace, while Nash has just now found the mushroom 11 minutes in.
So for Moon, so now this will be information that we weren't able to see originally. Nash's feed froze en route to checking I think that's the compass chest or map chest, whichever the two, and then the big chest as well, because there was a big chest on the right side. It's a flute. So
all right, that explains how Nash is activating a flute now.
Yeah, so that's actually nice. We now have mountain access. There's only 3 items there, but it's nice to have that. And there's also a map too. So in the bait chest. So so I think it would be interesting to see the mountain play here. Yeah, there's only 3 items now. If we get like say we get like a hook shot or something, then or mirror, then we can go up to Hera, or if we get a hookshot, then we can go up to EDM and get that out. East Death Mountain, by the way.
Before doing that, I would be tempted, particularly with how early the Moon Pearl was, and the fact that we do know where one glove is, to put Zora in logic to do the fake flipper checks first, just in the hopes of finding something like the hook shot or the mirror to make the top of the mountain play a little more dense.
Yeah, that's also a good move as well. Same amount of checks. Well, there's save for the fact that roughly the same amount of checks. There's only the only difference between the Death Mountain play and the Zora play is that there's one extra item from Waterfall Fairy. And so we're not going to be able to turn in those that Nash is not going to turn in that mushroom because for fake powder because there's boots in the potion shop.
Yep, Nash certainly is not. Now, if one of our other runners was to put that off for a little while and find the hammer somewhere, they could still do it.
Yeah, and that alone is a little not unfortunate. It's nice to get. Hey, it's boots. We'll gladly take it. But if there's like a hammer up on the mountain, then it's a little unfortunate because Nash would have been able to get if Nash would have did the same thing that everyone else did, and that was to get the cane from out of Dark Cross in the dark, then there was an opportunity to turn in to do fake powder. But we also got a shovel from the old man.
Yeah, it looks like all Nash wanted to do was grab the save and quit point there. Figures, now I have that save and quit point plus the flute, I can get back up there whenever I want. And of course, everybody else is in Eastern Palace. Legendary Moon is pretty much right on top of the boss here, just a couple of rooms to go. And Golfer Bolts was not really rewarded with anything in the front of the escape sequence. I think there was a 300, a 20, and I do not recall off the top of my head what the first item I called was anymore.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything to note, so... Arcturus took a death, but opted to save and quit out.
Rather than continuing to play around with the dark rooms and knowing that there's not an item on the boss, it's reasonable.
Was this desert or what? Or wait, there's no, we can't have desert yet. Right. We can't do desert yet. Because I didn't see.
Nash is using this flute and boots combo to great effect to have the South Shore happen a little more quickly than it did for the other runners. Legendary Moon putting that first crystal on the board from Eastern Palace here at 16 minutes and a half, about 8 minutes after it was first done on Restream.
So, Nash will be able to do a water walk here. We'll be able to get we'll be able to get the items from off of Hobo, and we also get the 4 Zora items here as well. Nash opting to just head into Zora's domain right away instead of just going over to Hobo. It's fine. I mean, either way, you'll be able to get no matter if you go into do a Hobo first or you skip it and you do display. You can still get it. Like you can still get those items, I guess, later, like from Hobo, if you decide to go the way Red Nash is doing.
Yeah, you can. Arcturus has turned the mushroom in, has found the boots, is heading back over to the library. Let's see what our Zora item is. It looked like the ledge was a piece of heart.
Oh, so there was a powder there.
Well, that would explain why our runners didn't bother with the attempt to save Scum of Mushroom if they knew where powder was and they knew they were gonna. Well, I don't think Nash has actually gone and seen the lumberjack ledge, but everybody else already knew that they were going to find boots in a reasonable amount of time anyway.
Also, welcome on in Speed Gaming 6 with a party of 56. This is a daily race, open weekly. This is actually we're showing 4 runners that were in the just recently completed Gomo Podcast Mentor Tournament. All 4 of these runners were in separate sword-based brackets, going from Golfer Bolts. He was in Gold Sword, Nash Sauter was Tempered Sword, Arcturus was Master, and Legendary Moon was Fighter. So these 4 have already been essentially, I guess, initiated into the community by a couple mentors. I was one of them, and yeah. Oh, we actually saw there was a hammer too. Apparently, I was talking about that. It was in Bonk Rocks.
Hammer and Bonk Rocks.
Okay, so no Aga for Dark World access, but we will still need to find a lamp because there is a glove on Lumberjack Ledge, and that is 100% required.
And Aga Tower with no lamp is just not fun.
I mean, you can still do it with the fire. You can do it with the fire rod, but it's not logically required because there's not enough torch boxes to light it. To light the entire tower. I've done it before. Actually, I legit did it during a co-op practice sometime like earlier this week, and the first time I actually done it.
Nash is about to get the bad news that everybody else has had for a while. Legendary Moon finally pulling those boots and taking a blue potion. And Golfer Bolt's the 3rd of our 4 featured runners to pull down the crystal from Eastern Palace.
Okay, so the good thing about this, the fact that we have a hammer from Bonk Rocks, is that we could, because we have the powder, we knew that the powder was on library. We can do the powder anytime we want, but preferably we would want to do it after we killed Aga and got those mitts for the Smith chain, and also with a mirror.
Also, speaking of Arcturus, the first of our runners to enter the Dark World has discovered the Ether Medallion on the Pyramid Ledge. And is apparently going to carry the play directly over to Green Pendant Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, unfortunately, Arcturus got hit, so he has to regain Hiki here. But it's not a big deal. We have like tons of money anyway, so I mean, it's just like the least of our worries. Imaginary Moon now into the front of Escape.
I was half wondering if we were going to see a really spicy fire rodless Dark Aga play there for just a second, but no, it appears to just be the front of Escape that we've seen from Golfer Bolts. Speaking of, Golfer Bolt's going to turn the mushroom in, going to be the last of our 4 runners here to find the boots.
So, I was got a little sidetracked from this, but I think the play for Green Pendant Pod isn't a bad idea. When you take into consideration the Green Pendant, it's 6 items, the exact same amount as a swamp. So it is pretty dense with our current equipment.
It is, of course, a decent chunk of the back of it is actually going to be out of logic with neither the lamp nor the fire rod.
Right. But they've been through the grind here. They know how to do dark rooms. Hey, I mean, come on. They were in the mentor tournament. They were taught to do this. Speaking the front, there that opens up the possibility of a hammer jump. I don't expect them to do this, but to actually pull off the hammer jump. But it's something if you were to just kind of save a bit of time here if you know how to do it.
Golfer bolts with 5 out of logic rupees at the hobo. I did not catch what Nash saw at the dig game.
There was the dig game. I thought you said the dig spot.
No, the dig spot was full heart container.
Right. And that one I caught.
Bottle turn in, just the piece of heart there for Nash, and this looks like probably a play to the Village of Outcasts portal.
Legendary Moon is actually going to take a shot at doing Aga in the dark.
Alright, let's see it. Arcturus is into the back of the pod now, is finding a piece of heart, looks to be probably putting off the dark portion of this as long as possible, but well, you've reached the Fisher Cut bait point at this point.
Now, okay, I'll give props to Legendary Moon here. This is bold. This is a bold move, but perfectly reasonable because there's a glove on Lumberjack. If Legendary Moon can pull this off, then this pretty much puts Legendary Moon pretty fair ways ahead.
My only real complaint about it would be doing it before having anything that would give you access to the dark portals on the mountain, although I guess taking advantage of being able to get into the mire area would be the hope, but no, has now thought better of it and left and gone to the sanctuary.
Yeah, it's a bold move. I mean, it's a brave move. I totally respect the attempt. There is, I mean, yeah, it isn't easy to do this room. I personally have not attempted this at all, but I respect the attempt.
Meanwhile, Arcturus appears to be done with Paths of Darkness, is going to rush on back out. We may see a catfish play here really quick. That's about the only thing in the area, unless he wants to go south and make that part of the loop.
Doing catfish this early in the game, especially when you're into pod, that's a totally reasonable move. Yeah, so that's the catfish play. It's reasonable. Not a lot of runners. Couple runners will do this. Not a lot of them though. Well, like some people will do it. Like not like a good majority of them. But when catfish pays off and you do it early, that will carry for a good while.
Hello, Golfer Bolts has discovered the hook shot on the magic bat.
Okay, so so you needed to get the mushroom and in order to get the boots, and then take said boots over to and get your hammer, and then get the powder, and then said powder could be used to great effect to get a hook shot.
Yeah,
Now
you needed the boots for both halves of it because you needed to get the hammer out of Bonk Rocks and the magic powder off of the library.
yes, that means there was absolutely no way you were going to do a fake powder in this seed.
Now we have Nash and Legendary Moon running around in Village of Outcasts. Golfer Bolt's finding that shovel, which we know is just going to lead to a heart container eventually if he gets around to checking it, but has that hook shot and gets to give us some new information on the mountain.
Golfer Bolt's having a little trouble trying to set up getting the hook speed there, but does get it. Makes it a little It's a little faster. Preferably, it's best to get it like when on the first attempt, because that way you don't lose a whole lot of time. Off the corner of my eye too, I did see Nash get the silver arrows that Legendary Moon also got from the chess game.
Yep, and Arcturus Chusky has found that hookshot as well, so we may have a couple of runners on the mountain and a couple of runners in Thieves Town here for a little while. No, never mind, Arcturus is going to continue on and make the village play, so it's just Golfer all by his lonesome up there on the mountain.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the most. It's a reasonable move because I mean, you have a hammer already, and you can clear this dungeon out. It's a crystal. It's one of the easier dungeons to clear. It's also like it's really close by as well, so only makes sense to go ahead and do this now. Kuros will get the silver arrows from the chess game. And there's a lamp. So now we have access to Aga, and that we can get those mitts.
And another sword to make life a little easier. I would not be surprised to see Golfer Bolts probably continue this play on through Tower of Hera, but in the very near future, I'm expecting we'll start seeing Aga plays.
Yeah, this is after Hera. Golfer will probably want. Yeah, let me try again. Golfer will want to go over to Aga after the Hera play's done. Golfer having a little trouble with getting this bomb jump. It isn't an easy bomb jump, but there is a little clue that you can get. In the corner, you actually get snapped, I guess, quote unquote, snapped onto the corner, and that will get it every time. But actually getting the pixel, like getting the setup without falling, is a little tough. And yeah, we're gonna see the Hera play coming up from Golfer. Makes sense. I mean, you already have a hammer. You can clear this out right away.
The last remaining question mark was having a fire source in those just-in-case scenarios where you have to fish something out of the basement, but Golfer found a lamp up on the mountain, so not a problem.
Yeah, this having the Hera pod is nice, and just a little bit of extra meta when for this for the Mentor tournament. I want to see Golfer do the VLST setup.
That looks like what he's aiming for. This is Philipot.
Yes, let's go. Created by another GMP Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament participant, Phyllis T. This is a much easier way of doing Herapot without having to do any buffers or whatever. There's only one pixel perfect lineup. The rest is not pixel perfect.
Yeah, where you place the bomb is important, but you have something like 3 or 4 pixels of horizontal slop for placing your sprite, which is substantially better than exact placement for both the bomb and yourself.
Yeah, I've ever since I've got it down, I have not looked back. It is now my go-to setup for it's not my go-to setup for that. And we also, I think we just saw there's our 4th and final sword from blind.
Yeah, seems kind of appropriate when we had the runners sorted into brackets by sword class that we find all 4 of them.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I mean, shout outs to Phyllis T, for not only being a Mentor Tournament participant, but also coming up with this setup as well. Wasn't she like? Is it what bracket was she?
She was gold sword.
Oh yeah. Now that there you go. Phyllis T, gold sword bracket, and also creator of this pretty much revolutionary setup for Herapod.
Okay, so we've had runners picking up some more crystals here. Golfer with 1 out of Tower of Hera, Nash and Legendary Moon with the crystals out of Thieves Town. Looks like Arcturus is hot on the trail of that one.
Okay, so at this point, Golfer will want to is going to head over to Aga. Hold on. Okay, just want to make sure. Nash has when the Fountain of Escape. I was like, oh, is Nash going to do the same thing that Legendary Moon did? I'm like, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I hope not, because that is a little bit as tough. But no, Nash is doing the Fountain of Escape. But so after Golfer gets this item from off the big chest, I expect to see the Aga play. You got the lamp from off of East Death Mountain. That is logically required to go ahead and kill Aga, because like I mentioned, there is not enough torch boxes to light him up with a fire rod. I was a little concerned about that mini Moldorm messing up Golfer's lineup, but no, it passed through, passed by. Didn't even attempt to go over. But another Philistine setup. I love that setup, man.
Yep, that could have been an uncooperative mini Moldorm, but instead it decided to play nice, for once. So let's see what we get here. It looks like Legendary Moon is heading in a podwardly direction. Arcturus is now going to be on to this Southern Dark World portion of the program. Golfer Bolts, as I was going to try to get the word in edgewise, is probably backtracking here for Spiral Cave before leaving the mountain.
Yeah, this and that's also a reasonable move. Doing spiral as your last thing before leaving the mountain is the best. Is like the ideal situation for any route, whether it be if you don't have access towards Hera or you actually have access to Hera. Most of the time, runners will want to. Most of the time, the runners will put off Spiral Cave when they have Hera access, clear Hera, and then do Spiral Cave. Because if they skip it, then it's a big gamble. So, Golfer, I'm assuming, is going to go ahead and do Pod next.
That's what it looks like, and that's kind of surprising. I really do feel like Golfer is in the best position of our 4 runners at the moment to just go ahead and clear Aga, gain the glove, and start trying to push the advantage.
Then again, Golfer hasn't done Hype Cave yet, so that's another thing. So, I mean, the pod play again, it hasn't paid off yet. But if the green pendant is something, then that could be could also be a big game changer. Otherwise, it's just a bait, and Golfer would have been better off just saving the play, saving Hype Cave, and then just going over to Aga, clearing, and then just going into Pod, and then doing Hype Cave.
Yeah, we're definitely getting a little of everything at the moment. Arcturus is now up on the mountain, has that hook shot already off of Magic Bat, and so we'll get the same kind of information that Golfer Bolts has.
Yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and... So Nash is also doing pod, so... And again, it's... I get it, but pod isn't anything at the moment.
I liked the play better when Arcturus tried to make it early to push the advantages that he had, and then, you know, kind of got blocked out a little bit with the end of it with the dark rooms and whatnot. And now that, you know, a lot of the other runners have better options, of course, really Magic Bat has become kind of a bad option from the perspective of the runners who haven't done it yet, because it's just sitting over there by itself. There's not really anything left to chain it up with.
Yeah, and that's an issue because Golfer had done this to get, you know, because he did get the hook shot, and it looks a lot more favorable. So here we go. Golfer is going to do the Aga play. This is what I was thinking was going to happen originally. It just looked like the Golfer wanted to do hype and then head over towards the left. That alone. It's also a much more reasonable play than just heading straight to pod, because Golfer will go to pod after. I would imagine Golfer would go to pod after getting the Aga play done.
I'm not entirely sure that he will. You can go grab those mitts, you can flute directly over to the mire area. It's really possible if you need Quake or Ether, because he'll see Ether jumping onto the pyramid, have a 67% chance of being able to go into mire.
That's true. That is true. Mitts opens up a lot in this game. And at that point, once Golfer gets those mitts, pod to him doesn't exist.
The question is there's still something hiding in there in the dark, and is Nash going to find it?
Yeah, and that's what I'm curious about too. It's an interesting thing to see Arcturus. It's interesting, and I'm interested what his thought process was. Once we get him in for an interview, why Arcturus decided to just bail out after getting a little bit having a bit of trouble within the dark room. That could just be as simple as that. And if it has something, then that would be a problem for Arcturus.
Speaking of problems for Arcturus, one of them is definitely not Moldorm. A couple of butter swipes is going to do for the worm here.
Yeah, this is Arcturus is the first of the four to Arcturus is the first of the four to get Dark World access here, or not? Sorry, Gale Force Swords.
And that does even him back up on the crystal count with our other three featured runners.
So Arcturus will also rush down to get the key. It won't be anything, but it's better just to get the. It's a decision. Either if you skip Hera Basement, get the big skip of its big key, or you just go in and do it. It's a play you have to come up. You have to like think about off the top of your head in that given moment. Arcturus doesn't want to take that chance of not seeing anything, or of not getting the second item. So that's why Arcturus is doing it. That's the same thing like Golfer did it too. But even if Arcturus decided to just if Arcturus didn't do it, by the time he goes back, he would know it would have been nothing.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it's a difficult check to come back to, and you really don't want it weighing on your mind when you have to loop all the way around the mountain to come back to it.
Yeah, and I've had it before where those those difficult checks to return to gets into my mind, and it's just either you don't want that, you don't want it you don't want it to exist in your mind. You want to think, oh, there's nothing there. But if there is something and you make that decision, then it will cost you desperately.
And it doesn't look like Nash has found anything in the dark, is considering remaining to try and take out the boss, but hovering over the save and quit.
Yeah, opt into save and quit here. I get it. I get it. Cause there's no fire source yet. There's no fire rod. So like the torch box in the Terrapin room. And the only lamp that we know, and the only fire source we know about is the lamp that Legendary Moon just picked up in the top 5 in Paradox. But is on the right track to get it. Nash just picked up the powder, is also going to turn it in, so on the right track.
Yep, the hook shot going to lead Nash onto the mountain where the next little piece of the progression lies, that lamp to give you the logical and, well, really ease of movement around Aga's tower to go get those mitts off the lumberjack.
In the meantime, Gulfer has made it into Skull Woods.
Yeah, we still have not seen the fire rod, so not going to be able to do this in its entirety, and is going to choose to fall down the left-hand side here.
Yeah, with no fire rod, the decision is the play you make is back to middle, not back to not back to middle, front to back, because there's no fire rod, or rather front to middle, technically.
And Legendary Moon is not going to play around with Harapot and attempting to skip the basement run here, just going to go ahead and bite the bullet and get the big key first.
Yeah, I mean, it makes... I totally get it.
While Arcturus is working back towards Palace of Darkness, this is going to be the double dip. Nash going to go ahead and pull that lamp out of the Paradox Cave along with the extra level of sword.
Okay, so what else do we have left? Well,
we have whatever's laying on Helma, but the big one, of course, is somebody needs to go get those mitts and actually get into mitts locked locations.
Yeah, and the current person to do this is Gulfer. Gulfer is in a really good position. Like, making the decision to not do pod until after killing Aga is real. It makes a lot of sense. Like, it's a because if you do pod from your normal dark pod access that you got from the hammer and glove, then that play becomes like the Agaplay will sit in for I don't know how long given the seed, but it'll be in the back of your mind until you actually have to go ahead and do it. I mean, you have to do it anyway because it's a glove. It's for 100. You have to get it no matter what.
And while we were considering that, one of our trackers, Sorcerer Finch, pointing out that was a very nice hammer yump on Arcturus' screen there.
Yeah, that's actually really nice of Arcturus, like to pull that off. And Arcturus is going to go ahead and head to the back. Go ahead and fight Helma, but has to deal with this hard hat beetle. But it doesn't want to deal with it, so just go ahead and just reset the room there.
Once it gets into that position, it is much faster to just go ahead and reset the room than to keep bouncing against it with sword pokes. Legendary Moon going to be the first of our runners to reach 3 crystals on the board, taking out Moldorm there at the top of Tower of Hera. And we're seeing an alternative strat for Herapot here out of Nash Souter. This is the super speed setup.
This one's also a pretty popular one. A lot of the top runners like this one because if you get it on the first try, then it's faster than any of the other setups.
It is, but what happens to me is the same thing that just happened to Nash there. I yutz around with it and yutz around with it and yutz around with it some more. And so as soon as I learned Philipot, I just gave up on it.
Yeah, that's also a thing. It's also it's not inconsistent, but it's all based on like how finicky or twitchy spin speed is on like trying to set up a precise setup like that.
Golfer Bolts is on into the back half of Thieves Town now. Arcturus is just about to encounter the Helmsor King here. So we'll get some new information there. And Moon, done with Light Mountain, appears to be heading for the Agaplay again, this time with a lamp in hand.
So for Moon, Moon will join Gopher with killing Aga at the moment. But I would still put bets on Gopher getting the mitts first.
That seems like a decidedly maybe kind of thing at the moment, but we'll have to see what Golfer wants to do after defeating Blind. Arcturus has found 50 bucks on Helmsor King and also has that green pendant in hand now.
Okay, so this turn-in will... Arcturus, if he turns it in and finds that there's something on there, then that's a big thing for Arcturus. But at the moment, Arcturus is going to join Legendary Moon in climbing the tower.
It seems that the allure of the mitts is strong for at least some of these runners, but Golfer Bolts is the one who had the possible access to it first and has continued to put it off.
Arcturus actually remembering that yes, Arcturus already did the front of escape and just needs to go ahead and do Aga.
Buttersword climb, pretty straightforward. Silver arrows as well. You have options here.
Yep. Golfer also had gotten the Thieves Town crystal and saves and quits and is heading towards the mitts.
And Nash is also now in the tower climb, so everybody's going to have that access here in the very near future, but as you surmised a moment ago, Golfer Bolts will be the first one with them.
Okay.
Let's see what play he wants to make with that.
Yeah, it's all right. Okay. What do you do with this? I would be more inclined to say the Meyer play.
Meyer, I feel like, makes a lot of sense. You don't really want to get up onto the mountain and go to Turtle Rock when you have neither of the rods.
Yep, there's the Meyer play.
Not going to set Spooky, but then Golfer Bolts has no Fire Rod, so there's not really a reason to set Spooky.
Yeah, if there's no reason to set up a Spooky with the fact that there's no Fire Rod, then there's no point even like wasting wasting energy just to do Spooky.
And the entry requirement did appear to be the Ether Medallion that we found on the Pyramid Ledge.
So Golfer can clear this.
And
And
appears inclined to do so.
Yeah, you might as well. You have the Ether Medallion. You have the Ether Medallion. From the Pyramid Ledge. You can go ahead and start clearing out Meyer here, and this could very much lead to progression as well. In fact, there's a lot of things that can lead to progression. Everything except for like there's a lot of mid spots except for ice, because there's no Bombos or Fire Rod.
Yeah, there are a surprising number of things that our runners are still lacking, even though we're closing in on the hour mark here. We're going to have to find Flippers and Mirror at some point to make Swamp Palace doable. We're going to need both rods for Turtle Rock. And if that Fire Rod is in Ice Palace, then we're going to have to find the Bombos Medallion somewhere as well.
Flippers.
Well, there's one of those things we were talking about.
Now, those flippers don't really open up much. Like I mentioned, there's no way to get into swamp nor going into ice. So, the flippers are just a prologue, like prelude, beginning, whatever, of that particular sequence.
They're one of those pieces our runners were going to have to find eventually, but getting them right now doesn't really change anything for them. Golfer bolts over onto the fire side now. Legendary Moon has the mitts. It looks like Nash and Arcturus have both taken down the wizard and are both going to start Sanctuary and get mitts of their own. But Moon is going to go ahead and eschew the play over to the Mire area, is going to go to Dark Mountain instead.
Golfer picks up that ice rod, and that's the end of this. That is the end of this. Like, that's all two items. That flippers and ice rod, and the big key's right there.
The big key is in the hub, so now Golfer bolts can just go to the boss. A very kind and generous Misery Mire today.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, this is a really nice Mire. I mean, I kind of wish I had this Mire. This Mire would have made my day.
It's like getting God Mire when you're actually in go mode.
Yeah, I mean, it's a interesting little proxy for that, but yeah, it's God Mire, but sort of, but kind of this is and kind of isn't.
And this could be a really interesting position if Legendary Moon finds the Fire Rod up here on the mountain / in the Turtle Rock itself, because you're not going to beat Trinex without going to Misery Mire.
And the fact that Turtle Rock is also Ether, this is like a good position. This is a really good position for Legendary Moon. As if Legendary Moon finds stuff here in Dark Death Mountain, I'd be inclined to actually go into Turtle Rock. You can get kicked out pretty easily in Turtle Rock without the Fire Rod.
Yeah, the problem with saying that is it feels like the fire rod is going to show up here in the near future.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. If the fire rod shows up, you can go all the way over to you can go all the way to Laser Bridge, but there's no ice rod because we already know where the ice rod's at. But a mirror's there.
That's interesting. That gives you the check on the home of the mimics there.
And if Legendary Moon goes to Mire, that's swamp.
Golfer Bolt's putting down Vitreous there. Silver Arrows fired to great effect. Puts crystal number 4 on the board.
And we come up with progression. When we come up with progression too, Flippers and Ice Rod is in a really good position too. I mean, what more can you ask for?
And Moon is going to avoid the play into Turtle Rock, is going to do Spike Cave, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's also, I mean, there was an interesting decision. Like, it's an interesting decision there if you want to, like, for the Fire Rodless Turtle Rock play. If you go into it, you can get kicked out. You can. There's a good chance that you get kicked out. But there is also the possibility that you don't get kicked out and you can go all the way to Laser Bridge without a Fire Rod. The mirror, with the mirror, that's that situation extends out to Mimic Cave. But there's also a good reason just to not even bother to do it. That's what Legendary Moon did. Also, nice rail clip from Nash from Dorsey Extension.
Yep, that's a good one.
One I kind of wish. Go ahead.
Looks like Moon might be heading towards... No, not heading to Palace of Darkness here. Is hooking across instead. Oh, right. Has the mirror and is going to loop in the Graveyard Ledge with the King's Tomb check. The King's Tomb check not going to give us anything. That was just bombs. But Graveyard will be new information.
Yeah, I mean, this makes sense for Legendary Moon to do this. I mean, I think this is... I mean, yeah, there isn't anything in King's Tomb, but we're also getting... It's another check, and you don't have to switch. You don't have to switch out your mirror. A quick swap here. You can just stay on the mirror, and then just switch over. Golfer, I think was attempting to do the play, the thing where you hook shot, you clip through with a hook shot, but didn't get it, so I actually have to walk up and fall down the pit.
That is one of the more finicky hookshot clips in the game, and unfortunately here on Legendary Moon side we see it's just another full heart container in Graveyard Ledge, so neither of these northern checks really paying out at the moment.
So here's the deal. For Fire Rod away from go, or at least no. I'm thinking the best situation here is you go to swamp.
Yeah, finding the flippers and then the mirror where Golfer Bolts is going to have found them. I don't know, it's kind of tough to leave TR behind in this situation. Already having the ice rod, do you think, if the fire rod's just in there, which happens every once in a while.
Golfer was thinking of doing that, but opted just the mirror instead. Is going to flute away. I think this is the swamp. This is the swamp play.
I believe we had Nash putting the Vitreous Crystal on the board there, is now going to go up and see those things on the mountain that both Golfer and Legendary Moon have.
Yeah, let's see if Nash also does the same. Let's see if Nash goes into Turtle Rock. With the Ice Rod in hand, that makes the play a lot more I guess it makes the play a lot more convincing to do, because if you get you don't have to worry about that safety net anymore, or at least that you don't have to worry about not finding the ice rod, because they already went into Mire and found the ice rod to begin with. And if the fire rod is in Turtle Rock, then well, there you go. That's go mode.
Yeah, and if not, in a lot of the key layouts, you'll just wind up locked out reasonably quickly.
Yeah, and that's also the nice thing too. If the fire rod, if the key layout doesn't lock you out, then there's always swamp.
There's Crystal 3 for Arcturus, putting that Vitreous Crystal on the board, and Golfer Bolts is going to do what you were thinking about a minute ago, and is going to chase the Flipper's Mirror combo into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, 6 items compared to Turtle Rock's 5. If you're going for item density, then this is a play that you would do.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're going to have to leave the mountain and go back up at least once anyway. The problem with that is, if the fire source is actually in TR, then you're going to come back down again to go into Ice Palace.
Okay, so after Nash does Super Bunny, let's see what he does.
Legendary Moon has made choices and is committing to some more overworld checks, has picked up the Smiths.
Yeah, Smith Chain is also Smith Chain also is a reasonable one. You have a mirror, so you can get back there without a problem. Nash opting to not go into Turtle Rock as well.
Yeah, it is certainly a choice that you can make, and it seems like all of our runners have made it so far, aside from Arcturus, who has not quite made it to that point yet.
Oh, there's Fire Rod.
Well, there you go. Our Fighter Sword bracket representative, Legendary Moon, doing the overworld checks, has been rewarded with the Fire Rod. Now, she has not been to the Mire area yet, has not been into Misery Mire, where both the Flippers and the Ice Rod for Go Mode are.
Wait, was Legendary Moon a she this entire time?
I'm reasonably certain.
Hold on, let me check.
While you're checking, welcome to our Raiders from Speed Gaming, a party of 53 who are joining in progress the Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race Series. This is actually our weekly race we hold every Sunday afternoon at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We are featuring today 4 runners from the recently concluded Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament.
Legendary Moon was a she. I am so sorry. If you're Legendary, if you're watching this VOD back, I am so sorry. I didn't look at the race room, so.
Yeah, blink and you missed this run through Swamp Palace on Golfer Bolts' side is already on the boss. Very clearly skipped left side swamp, but everything else seems to have happened in a rather expedient manner.
Okay, so after Legendary Moon does the Smith Chain, does she go to Mire?
There are a very limited number of places left, particularly since she's only looking for Ice Rod and Flippers, and the other option really would be to go to Ice Palace, which, you're not going to find your Flippers there. Misery Mire makes a lot of sense, but by the same token, Legendary Moon has been avoiding that very studiously thus far.
She's going there.
Yeah, I say as she flutes at 6. And Arcturus is going to go back and clean up Eastern Palace. There was a little bit of trouble with the dark rooms and the relatively early going on a fairly low equipment set. There wasn't a lamp in inventory at the time. Going to go back and clean this up now makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so she will be the first one into Go Mode. However, Golfer Boats has more dungeons than her.
And Golfer appears to be heading in more or less the correct direction to find that fire rod, going to come at it from the south rather than looping around from the north. Meanwhile, Nash is following right along here in Swamp Palace. Oh, interesting. Golfer Bolts did not continue the loop up from the south there, fluted away to check Agina instead. Going to be without that fire rod for just a little while longer.
Okay, so now the big question for the remaining 3 runners that's not Moon. When will they go to do the Smith chain? Because that's holding that is holding their go mode.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to say. It looks like Golfer Bolts is chasing mirror checks at the moment, which does make some sense. Arcturus picking up that crystal out of Eastern puts the 4th on the board for him. Golfer sees the mirror shield there in Checkerboard Cave and says, nope, you know what, I'm good. This looks like it's probably going to be a play into Pendant Desert. Nash grabbing crystal number 5 off of Argus. So we have a tie for the crystal lead once again between our gold and tempered sword representatives.
Okay, so now Legendary Moon, Soundmire, she will get go mode here.
And Arcturus Chusky is on the Smith Chain, is going to find that fire rod here momentarily, but has not been on the mountain and does not have the mirror.
Yes, and for Arcturus, that is the most important thing ever. So I would think desert, not desert. I think next you go ahead. Hmm, I wouldn't say go to ice yet. Um, oh, Arcturus actually, I believe, is abandoning. Oh no, right, no mirror, right? So still doing the Smith chain here.
From Arcturus' perspective, going and doing ice and then going and doing Turtle Rock makes a lot of sense now. And so going to get up on the mountain in the near future, but is not going to be able to go mode Ice Palace. Ooh, and one of our trackers, Sorcerer Finch, making an interesting note here. Legendary Moon, having the flippers already in hand here, is going to rush the boss, and is going to have to dip back into Mire for the Ice Rod. Oh, and here's Golfer doing the thing that we were kind of hoping not to see. Would have had a decent amount of time in hand if he had just gone ahead and committed to making that sweep from the south to the north in the Dark World to find the fire rod on the hammer pegs, but is instead taking Kiki over to the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, and this now that now that we know where the fire rod's at, Gopher doesn't know, but this from Gopher's perspective, it's 5 items. It's the next best thing, or 5 or 6 items with the green pendant. But now it's a it's we unfortunately know this is just a time sink.
Arcturus is in ice. It looks like Nash is on the Smith chain now, has done everything else in the general area, and has fluted back to 3 and gotten into the Dark World again. So, going to find that fire rod here momentarily, I believe.
Icebreaker from Arcturus in Hunt for the Mirror, which we know is up on the mountain.
And that is Crystal 4 for Legendary Moon. While Nash does appear to finally have found that fire rod and is the first of our featured runners on the restream here in Go mode.
So this is great for Moon. Or wait, did Moon get the ice rod?
Moon appears to have left the mire area without picking up the ice rod.
That's a problem. We'll have to see the menu, but I hope not, because if she left the ice rod, then it's going to hurt her a lot. But it looks like the trackers were confirming my fear. This is going to be a double dip of mire for Moon, and that's really unfortunate.
Nash is very much in the catbird seat now. Has the Go mode has 1 dungeon left to do down off of the mountain, and then gets to go and just punch out Turtle Rock as quickly as he can.
Yeah, this is great for Nash at the moment. This is like the best thing that Nash could be in right now. Go moding ice with Icebreaker feels really good. It saves a lot of time compared to doing IPPJ and going through the long routes or the intended route. Nice job from Nash, by the way. Yeah, after ice, it's Turtle Rock. Clear that off the GT, and then just kill a pig, and there you go.
Not a whole lot left that our runners could even be looking for. We've had a couple of them find a male upgrade. I wonder how much of a clear of swamp we're actually going to see from Moon here. I'm not sure if it was an intentional skip of the second item in Mire or not. I'm kind of wondering whether or not left side is even a thought at the moment.
My best guess is that it was she mismarked how many items she had.
Very nice quick kill with the dash poke set up by Nash there on Cold Stare.
Yeah, very clean. Has the 6 crystal, now heading to Turtle Rock. And then afterwards, just a straight shot to JT. But yeah, I would my safest bet is that she mismarked how many items she had.
Speaking of clearing out Cold Stare, Arcturus has done that as well. Still has Swamp to do and Turtle Rock. Unfortunately, the mountain climb is going to have to happen one more time after this because the mirror is up here.
So, now the thing about this compared to our Nash's setup is that for one thing, Swamp's already been cleared out from Nash. Nash is well within the lead here. Nash is well in the lead here. For Arcturus rather, he's still gotta do wait, yeah, he. I'll make sure I have the race term right. Have the pronouns right. Arcturus still has to get Swamp down. If Arcturus does decide to go to Turtle Rock first, that's a whole other. That means a whole other mountain climb. And Arcturus would rather just clear Swamp because it's the quickest of the two dungeons that you can clear in Go mode. Because Turtle Rock in Go mode is pretty much the same as if you weren't in Go mode and you were looking for items.
The Turtle Rock really has to cooperate with you to be go modable. You need a specific layout of keys for it to actually allow you to save any time.
Right.
Now, Arcturus is going to have to make one more mountain climb anyway. Whether he wants to do TR now or on the subsequent climb doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
Mhm.
Because he's going to find the mirror here, and there was no way he was going to be able to do Swamp before now.
Yeah, and Nash has like the luxury of had found the mirror earlier, before hiding the Swamp, and then finding the fire rod during the spit chain to put himself in the Go mode, and then go ahead and finish up the rest of the game here, not having to worry about another climb. But it looks like Arcturus is going to go ahead and clear out Pod here, because that's Go mode for Pod Turtle Rock. I mean, for Arcturus, because he's in Go mode.
Yeah, very much a matter of preference, really. What do you want to do? Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it on the subsequent climb? I would be tempted personally to do it on the subsequent climb, just because the refill is attached to it.
Yeah, and that's also fair. It's a really just it's a decision that if you either you do it on the next climb, like on the subsequent climb, up towards before Turtle Rock, or you do it after Turtle Rock and finish Swamp. Now, I would like to see. Oh wait, there's of the top of the runners over on the top of the screen. They have no green mail, or they have no blue mail rather, and we know blue mail was. Oh, where was it? On the Smith. Okay. Thanks, Sorcerer Finch. By the way, um, give all these four runners a follow. They had participated in the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament that concluded a few weeks back. They deserve they deserve all high marks for making it to that as far as they have. They deserve a follow, and there also is another restream going on too at the same time at the Go Mode Podcast. This Go Mode Podcast Twitch channel. There's a whole set of four other runners that's down there as well. As far as the crew is concerned, I'm Professor Render, my co-com's Mendium, and I mentioned Sapphire and Sorcerer Finch. They are the trackers as well. Give all of us a follow as well. We're keeping the lights on here for this Sunday Open Weekly.
It looks like Golfer Bolts is finally on the track of the fire rod here, going to pick that up out of Hammer Pegs. Legendary Moon working on a bomb diver down in the back of Swamp Palace. Clear the place out just as quick as you can. And it looks like Turtle Rock cooperated at least to some extent. Our runner's not forced to grab that lava chest. The ability to steal the Pokey Key is one of those things that you want if you're trying to go mode the dungeon.
Yeah. Still has to find a key from Laser Bridge, but that's fine.
Golfer Bolts appears to have a small problem here, has brought the Smith to Ice Palace, and the Smith doesn't want to go.
It has to turn into the Smith here. It looks like we did see Nash. He does have the small key. Looked in like it was look. It looks like while his stream was down for a bit, was doing laser scripts. Had not opened the door yet, so going in with a couple of hearts here. A set amount of hearts, sure, but we have gold sword, and we have both of our rods. These take like three. They take 3 spins or 3 hits on each head during this first phase. Apparently, Nash missed and behind on the schedule here, but does take a def there.
It was leaving the left side before the third hit actually went in, and the rest of the fight got a little questionable at that point.
Yeah, it didn't also help that the floor got icy from that ice head, so at least we'll have a reset here from Nash. While Moon is still looking for that ice rod, she has to go back into Mire to find that.
That is a really unfortunate place for that to be from her perspective, because if you've mismarked your tracker or you've just decided this is the skip that I'm going to make, how do you get back to it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Leaving a dungeon of an item feels really bad because you don't know how to best route it again. It's unfortunate, and it feels bad for Moon. I mean, she's a great runner. Like everyone else is a great runner. They made it through the mentor tournament. Like what? Like the 5th seed from the 12th or 5th seed from the fighter.
5th seed fighter, I believe.
5th seed fighter. Okay, but Stash has 7 crystals. Off the GT, there's 21 chests and a torch to make up a total of 22 items in GT. You can guess a number between 1 and 22, and if you get it, cool. Good on you. I'll drop in 7. Nice even distribution here. All right, guesses are closed. See what Nash is up to now. First chest is just some rupees. Looks like that was a 50 from my perspective.
Maybe a little pixelated, but I think you're right. Golfer Bolt's going to butter up Cold Stare in the corner there, going to collect crystal number 6 on his side.
There's 4. Okay. So, closest one, let's see. Closest one, because it wasn't a 4. I'm gonna go by closest one. I think the closest one was
CV Maniac with a 1. Or Professor Renderer with 7. You're kind of equidistant away.
Yeah, or equilibrium. Yeah, it's pretty much equilibrium. I'm gonna go ahead and say both. Except, I mean, CB has it on. CB does get it if you're going to go by Price is Right rules, where you get closest to one without going over, or if you just want to just go like by average. Both me and CB tie. Or if you're gonna go by Sash Robot, if you go by Sash Robot rules, I get the win because I was the first one to break the tie. I mean,
we have Nash showing off some nice skills here with Buttersword boots in the gauntlet.
Yeah, this is a clean fight, a clean gauntlet here. A little bit of a tough time with this this red Zyzak on the ice and conveyor room, but gets it down either way. But also, I think it makes it made up with the Stalfos and red Zyzak room.
Now, I think the interesting point on our restream here is going to be Golfer Bolts and Arcturus Chusky, who are both on to their final crystal here. Swamp is a bit faster of a clear than Turtle Rock, but by comparison, Arcturus is then going to have to do the mountain climb again, while Golfer is going to be spit right back out at the entrance to TR. So keep your eye on those two, at least a little bit, while we watch Nash do the rest of this climb.
Legendary Moon God has her 6th crystal. Now, I'm hoping. Oh, did she? Oh, she did. Did she leave an item out of nice? A few items, huh?
Seems to think so. Going back in.
Show up the iced tea room. According to the Sorcerer Finch.
Nash is having a little trouble with Torch's 1 here.
Torch's run is a kind of annoying room to deal with because if you mess up, like if you're like a little slow, you actually have to burn time. You have to burn time here, so that way you don't get Jenko glitched. Where if you go up the stairs at the same time as the jingle for the door plays, all sprites despawn, including Moldorm 2 and Aghanim 2 if you hover. Which from what I've heard is going to get patched out soon. Or at least on no glitches.
Yeah, that is what I have heard as well, and it's an interesting thing that I've definitely heard some people have rather differing opinions on.
For me, I think I find it interesting that it's for no glitches and not for glitch modes. Because speaking from his experience as a glitch runner, it affects not only just like no glitches runners, but also glitch runners too. So, as far as the jungle glitch is concerned, I don't know about quadrant glitch as far as major glitches are concerned.
Yep, that's one I couldn't tell you. Glitched modes are outside my area of expertise.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I only bring it up since I did the Overworld Glitches Mentor tournaments last year, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself playing that. But tangent aside, Nash has finished up. He's finished up Aga 2. Let's go ahead and fight Ganon. While Arcturus is heading up towards GT, while Legendary Moon looks like heading over to Turtle Rock without that ice rod. Also, hello, Worldwide Wimpy with a party of 3.
to answer Worldwide Wimpy's question from chat. Ice Rod was on the fire-locked side of Misery Mire.
Yeah, and that's something that Legendary Moon is having a lot of trouble with. She had skipped it. We assume it's a mismark.
It looks like we have Nash on into phase 3 here.
Yeah, Nash is in a good position to finish this out here.
One more swipe in phase 3, and then just looking to put 4 silver sticks into the pig.
A quick phase 3 that was very cooperative. Just don't fall. Don't need to worry about torch glitch here. You have silvers. As well as make sure you don't hold if you're close to a pit and you get hit by a fireback, just don't hold a neutral input, because if you hold the inputs when you get hit by a firebat, you go in the opposite direction of where you get hit by the firebat, or of where you're holding, and you run the risk of falling. Okay, I like this flag. GG's in the chat for Nash. We'll finish first on our restream here. We'll get the official race time for you. I like this little dash there. Finishing with its race time of 1:34.26, finishing 11th overall in the restream amongst 29 runners. It also includes the 4 that's on here on this restream, and also the one from the Go Mode Podcast Twitch channel. They're doing a simulcast of this on their own. They're doing a simultaneous cast here. First place was Hitzion with a time of 1:10.18. Second was Matt7898, 1:15.32. Third was Cool Papa Bell, 1:20.58. Fourth was Coride, 1:22.43. Fifth was Chimo, 1:30.28. Sixth was Shire, 1:31.20. 7 was Big Dunka, 1:32.25. Eighth place was Joss with 1:33.20. Ninth was Vortex of Doom, tying with Plasma Kappa at 1:34.22.
Impressive to have it down to the second tie. Of course, for 9th and 10th place, I don't think anybody's going to bother retiming them, but here we are.
Yeah,
we have Arcturus, who's found the big key in GT and is working on mimics now. Golfer is still in the back half of Turtle Rock. I'll admit to having looked away while watching Nash finish out the game. Was there some kind of an unfortunate death here or something?
I can't tell. I don't think I saw.
We also have some beep strats in the dark here.
Shame it's not double beeps. No, like real talk, double beeps is funny. I quite like double beeps when it's on a restream. It adds a bit of a little humor to the race. It's like, no, stop the beeps. The beeps are endless. Alright, we'll see.
That was an interesting use of the mirror there by Golfer Bolts. Rather than just pulling out the Cane of Berna and going through on invincibility, instead mirrored back to the safety door.
I probably would have taken a refill def here. Since we already have took the safety door. Moon finds out Legendary Moon finds the red mail from Mimic Cave in her hunt for the ice rod. And it looks like Nash Sauter is in the booth, in the waiting room. We'll see if we can pull him up, and we'll talk about it. Talk about this race.
Looks like Golfer is going to get on into Trinex this time. Legendary Moon heading on towards Loser Bridge. Arcturus Chusky is going to work on the Wizrobe's 2 room here, which is really satisfying with the Cane of Samaria when it goes right. When it doesn't, you kind of sit there and wiggle around for a while and hope that you get them all with the sword eventually.
Yeah, I personally like that. I love Wizrobes 1 and 2. It's probably one of my favorite pairs of rooms in the game, because once you pull it off, and like both sets, it's satisfying to pull them off. Very, very satisfying to pull them off. And then afterwards, it just becomes just business.
Also of note, since she's going to use the cape here on Laser Bridge, Legendary Moon, the only one of our runners who actually went to left side swamp and found the half magic there.
And while we on that thought, here is Nash Sauter, GG, and congratulations on taking first amongst the, not only with the restream here, but also amongst the 8 runners in this Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament Special.
Yeah, GG, thanks.
So, what's your thoughts on this seat?
I mean, there was a few smaller things that kind of were interesting, but I think overall it felt like a pretty straightforward seed. I was kind of honestly surprised by that fire rod location. I thought it would be buried deeper down somewhere, but once I found that, then I was pretty happy that I stumbled upon it.
Yeah, it's correct me if I'm wrong about this, Mindy. I'm pretty sure you were like the first one to get the fire rod amongst the 4.
No, Legendary Moon had it earlier.
Right. It was, but you were the first one in Goma amongst the 4, and then just carried the momentum throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was actually pretty tight between you, Nash, and Golfer Bolts, but you found the fire rod, and he instead went and committed to a full clear of Palace of Darkness looking for it, rather than continuing. He was kind of looping up from the south, and then decided, no, I've had enough once he got to K45, and decided to go try other things, while you still committed to that western Dark World / Light World area, and managed to turn the fire rod up. Up until that point, you guys were even on crystals.
Yeah, I pretty much had the decision between going there or going back to the desert area. So it was kind of 50-50, same amount of items. And since at that point I already had pod cleared except for Helmasaur, which would have been 2 items, but I didn't feel like going all the way back there just for 2 items when the other options seemed a lot faster.
Just kind of cut in here. Legendary Moon does find her Ice Rod, and she's now in Go mode, heading over to Turtle Rock to finish her game off.
Yep, and Arcturus has just entered Phase 4, is going to stick some silver sticks into Ganon, and Golfer Bolts is now on the climb.
Almost a triple there.
Now, Nash, while we're waiting for Arcturus to finish this up, and I'm reasonably certain we're going to have him joining us in here as well, you were the last of our runners to actually get the knowledge of the glove on Lumberjack, but you got it earlier than I feel like maybe I thought you were going to, because you had gotten Dark World access in the form of the other glove and the hammer, plus that really early Moon Pearl.
Yeah, I guess when I found those boots, I just felt like I wanted to follow those and check the bonk rocks, and then pretty much thought that if I didn't check Lumberjack right then it was possible that I would never end up getting to it. And with the boots, it's not that bad of a check.
And as we were talking about this too, Arcturus Chusky has finished second on our restream with a race time of, let me get it, 1:42:39, finishing 17th overall. There, as between Nash and Arcturus finishes, there was Homemade Beer 12th with a 1:37:10. 13th Kaede Rukara with 1:37:21. 14th was J-Bone 25, another one of the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament attendees, 1:40:08. 15th place was High Ruler, 1:41:01. 16th was Mista Ed 3 with 1:41:26. And we're joined by Arcturus Chusky in the booth. GG.
GG's, thank you very much.
Good game to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about the seed. What's your initial thoughts on this?
I'm very angry with myself because I was tilted the entire race since dying in the back of Eastern in the dark room, and then I just kept having silly deaths. But overall, other than totally forgetting that there was mitts on Lumberjack, pretty generous seed overall. I felt like I didn't feel like there was anything too out of the way.
Yeah, there were the seed actually. Even though Aga 1 was required for the mitts, it actually ended up being not too terrible. I mean, the placement of the Flippers and Ice Wad was really kind because they were all on that either on the bridge or on the left side. I mean, that did get to some of our runners, however, namely Legendary Moon. She had, I believe, we assume she had mismarked her items, and never went to left side until just about a couple minutes ago. She's already facing Trinex. But yeah, that was a really nice one. I think that Fire Rod was the one that kind of threw people in for a loop because it's in such a awkward spot. Actually, in Legendary Moon was also the first one to get said Fire Rod from there.
Oh yeah, because Fire Rod was what, behind Hammer Pegs?
Yes.
Ah, yeah. I was actually thinking it was that we were going to have Mirror behind Mirrorless Smiths, but I realized, hey, I could check Hammer Pegs. I definitely should. And so, and behold, there's our Fire Rod. So it worked out.
Yeah, it actually took you up until you were climbing up the tower or climbing up the mountain to get the mirror, because that was the difference between you, Nash, and you.
Yeah,
because Nash had ended up going in the mirror before, and already had clear swap at that point. You, Arcturus, had to go into swamp because you were looking for your mirror to even get into go mode to begin with.
Yep. I did a full ice clear instead of just having that mirror, and it would have been nice, but oh well, you know.
Yeah. Actually, it's actually something of a special day for you, from what I've heard.
Oh, I suppose, yeah. Today is my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. So this is, I think, my 4th rando seed of the day, and I think that might be too many.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Seed bleed is real, and
Yep.
it's bad.
Yep.
That's why I stick with like one rando seed a day.
That's fair. Yeah, doing 4 back-to-back was... I wanted to see how my brain would react to that, and it turns out not very well. But I learned something today.
It turns to mush eventually, doesn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, I can't. I'm better. I'm fine with 1. Not like, I mean, a cross key seed is enough to make my brain turn into mush after one of those.
Oh,
Just-
absolutely.
Just saying. But
I think I was just gonna say I think that I usually max out at 3, and that's only if they're like spaced out all the way across the day. Like I can't play 2 back to back at all.
yeah, I'm with an open seed. I'm fine. I'm like I think I can do like two, but with a cross key seed, no, just no. It's already long enough as is. Ooh, a little careful there from Gopher Bows. Luckily, good thing that Gopher did actually held a neutral input, so did not fall off. But will finish this out.
Pretty much right as Legendary Moon finds the big key and is going to be able to begin the climb as well.
Yeah, and that actually will. That is going to be third on the restream with a race time of 1:49.05, finishing 20th overall. With between Arcturus, Chusky, and Gopher Bolts is Koek JPEG, another one of the runners that were being featured on the Gombo podcast. Finishing 18th of a 1:45.19, and Signum's 19th with a 1:47.39.
And then about a minute after, one of the other mentees who was being featured on the sister channel for this special broadcast, Sethno, with a 1:49.59.
So all that's left now is just Ninja Legendary Moon. Sorry, to finish this out. She's starting to climb. We'll see if we can get Gopher Boats in for an interview.
I do see him in chat saying, a lesson in how not to use the mirror in pod.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, this Gopher Bolt's in the chat. Actually, it looks like they won't be joining in for the day, but GG's. It's in the chat, just saying hi. Yeah, just Legendary Moon is just one left standing. Just gonna go ahead and finish this all out, heading into Land Mode 2.
So
I guess
while she works her way through this, let me ask the couple of you who have been able to join us in the booth here, and Golfer, if you want to answer this in text as well, you can. How do you feel now? You know, you went through the whole of the Mentor tournament, and it's been, what, 3-ish months now? If you can even think back that far about how you thought about and played Rando then versus now, how would you have felt about this seed if you'd played it 3 months ago?
Yeah, because I'm curious to know.
I'm sure that I would have routed it. I don't know exactly how, but I'm sure it would have ended up being at least pretty different. It wasn't the most open seed, but I think there's definitely some things I would have done less efficiently that I just didn't know about. And then also, just in terms of execution, I know that my execution now is a lot better than it was even just a few months ago. So I'm sure that my time would have been pretty significantly slower.
Yeah, I can echo that. I think execution is the big difference between me now and before the start of the Mentor tournament. I'm not sure you could tell that tonight, but but even just, you know, doing unbuffered Harapot or doing Hammer Yump, like some of these tricks that kind of speed things up a little bit, that I wouldn't have been at least as consistent with before the tournament. So that was pretty cool that we kind of got to do some of those Those things that I know I learned during the mentor tournament for sure.
Oh yeah. Then, speaking from a mentor's perspective, even though I did like what 3 mentor sessions, um, getting to know the people that you're mentoring, and figuring out what to work on after the seed's over, it's actually really nice because you get to know them a little bit more, how they play, how to best route them. You give them a bit of help in learning some of the tips there as well. I mean, it may not be an execution kind of person to learn. I can at least give help on routing and like basic logic. And that's kind of like how I mean, I kind of play in my I kind of try to teach people how to play how I would normally play, kind of like playing for the more orthodox plays rather than just like out of the like crazy, like riskier plays. But execution, I mean, yeah, just to kind of bring this in there, execution is a huge factor when it comes to playing this game. Not just like in this game as well, but also like it's a speed run or like any other game too. Actually executing, knowing your game, playing the game you want to play is a very important thing.
Yeah, and along with what you were saying about how you would kind of teach people kind of about what you would do, I think another good part of the tournament was having multiple mentors and then seeing how those different mindsets work out and different ways of routing things and kind of getting to figure out what works best for each person.
Yeah, it's developing your own routing playstyle, like your style of routing, just based on like from what everyone else has done, seeing what you like, seeing what everyone has routed, and then seeing what you can apply not to your game, but also to everyone else's games, to your game as well, how you route and all that stuff.
Not to go unnoticed here, Legendary Moon is now into Phase 4 and is putting silver sticks into the pig.
Yeah, and she will be like she will be the last one on this particular broadcast as well, and she does put the final silver arrow into again. GG's in the chat for Legendary Moon. We'll finish 4th on our race stream. I'll get the official race time for you, and that is going to be 4th on the race stream with the official race time of 1:56:10, finishing 24th overall. Between Zephno and Legendary Moon, I guess Golf for Balls as well. But Tabby Cat's 54 finishing 22nd with a 1:51:05, and Yorker's Wife 23rd at 1:52:14. And just as I mentioned it too, Standards finishing 25th with a time of 1:57:25, and Legendary Moon is in the booth. We'll get her in. And that will do it for this for these 4 runners. As far as the schedule is concerned, before we get her in, tomorrow at 2 p.m. we're going to be playing the Speed Gaming Live 2021 modified casual boots. We'll tell you about it. We'll give you some information about what that entails on that day. And here is Legendary Moon GG. That was a tough one. If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Maybe a little bit of technical difficulties here, but while we're waiting to see if we get that sorted out, good game once again to all of you. It was definitely an entertaining show. Really glad to see not just you all, but everybody else from the Mentor Tournament who's been hanging around in the community, doing dailies now, coming and playing on the ladder some more. It's always nice to get some new faces coming into the community.
For sure, yeah. But actually, just to go off of to read out the schedule for this week in particular. After that modified casual boots day tomorrow, 2 p.m. or Tuesday 11 p.m. we're going to be having overworld glitches. We're going to have some glitch community come up to show their stuff and ways you can break the game. And so then on Wednesday we're going old school back to about 2020 to have Ambrosia. Some classic Ambrosia. And then we are going to have another open seed on Thursday, and then open boots, or they're going to be playing Friday, 2 p.m. Open boots, open flute. And it looks like Legendary Moon I think she's ready now? Hello? Gigi?
GG's, everybody.
GG. Hey, there we go. Okay, so all right, that ice rod spot. What was it? Was it a miss mark, or did you? Was it a calculated scam?
Well, I gambled leaving the one item behind, and when I got all the way through Turtle Rock and still didn't have the ice rod, I figured I'd better go back and check, and lo and behold, there it was. We were thinking that it was a miss mark, because I actually personally didn't see the skip happen. But yeah, that was kind of a rough one, and it would have been nice if had you gotten that earlier. It actually would have turned out to be a pretty nice spot, because it was next to the flippers. It was flippers, and then if you went to the left side, your ice spot was right there. You can finish up Maya really quickly. Yeah.
Other than that, though, what were your thoughts about that seed?
I actually thought it was pretty nice. Like, everything seemed to be right on the routes that I had been checking, except for that ice rod, of course. So I'm pretty happy with how I did.
Yeah. We're all happy for you to finish that out too, considering this was a kind of a special daily race restream here, because we were inviting all four of the at least four on here, and then 4 on the Goma podcast Twitch channel. Have a bit of fun, and so a farewell to the tournament that concluded about a couple weeks ago. Yeah, just shout out to you. It was all fun.
Thanks. GG's, everybody.
GG's.
And thanks for restreaming this for us. It was great.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and shout outs to Smirk JD for actually putting this all together. I mean, he's such a great person to work with. And he was actually the first place the finalist, the winner of that the fighter sword bracket in particular. And I mean, putting this together was this is one of the nicest things he could have anyone could have done for anyone.
He set the whole thing up, and then he didn't even run in it. I happen to know that he's over in the commentary booth on the other channel.
Yeah, which is, I mean, he's the brains behind it. I mean, I think if you were to commentate, it would have only made sense to kind of just for his little idea there. But I guess as we're closing out the stream here, final thoughts. Any last words for all 4 of you, or 3 of you in this case, and for Golfer who's in the chat.
Thanks for commentating. Thanks for restreaming. Thanks to the Go Mode podcast for putting on the Mentor Tournament in the first place. GG's to all the runners, and Yeah, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem. As for Nash and Moon,
Yeah, pretty much all the same things. Thanks to everyone for putting this event together. It was a lot of fun.
okay, so going on to tomorrow around for the rest of the day here, we have currently on Speaking 4, we have a Metroid Prime randomizer tournament match. That tournament just started up not too long ago, and recently just concluded. We was the Mario Golf Toadstool Tour 80% 2021 tournament, and that's something I've never thought I would say at the moment. But coming up at 10 is a weekly based Zelda one. They're finishing up their Champions Choice month. Tomorrow, we have another. Like I mentioned, we have the daily race. That was the. Let me pull it up again because
It's the Speed Gaming Live settings, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the SGL settings. Yeah, the Speed Gaming Live casual boots, modified casual boots. That will happen. We'll get a channel set up for that if you don't know what it is. But for most of the day, some of this is subject to change. But for most of tomorrow, we're going to be seeing a lot of Fusion Rando. This is I think a more recent Rando that just popped up. Interesting Rando. I never really played Metroid Fusion or Metroid 4, whatever. So I find it interesting that there's a Rando for this too. There's also going to be some semifinals matchups for the Super Metroid Treble Bingo tournament, and some more qualifiers. There's a qualifier race for the Wind Waker randomizer for Speed Gaming Live. And then if we get crew for this, Super Metroid Link to the Past combo randomizer running on normal logic for Super Metroid. And if you want to stay up to date with that, follow the Speed Gaming channel, Speed Gaming 2 through 6. We have our multilingual channels, Spanish, Dutch, French, and Portuguese. Follow the renders. Again, this was they put out an absolutely lights out performance here. They did amazing. And then of course, I'm Professor Render. My co-com's Mendium. We had Sapphire and Social Finch on tracking as well. Give them a follow. And also shout this out too. Give a follow to the Goma podcast, the Goma podcast Twitch channel. They were doing a similar race as well. Doing the same race here, just with different participants. And yeah. Until then, Medium, I'll let you get the final word here, and we'll keep going.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for giving us a couple of hours of your time on this Sunday afternoon/evening. I do hope you enjoyed. This has been the Speed Gaming presentation of the Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race Series, our open weekly race here on Sunday afternoons. If you enjoyed it, you can come. You can join us next week. You can get into the race. It's a volunteer effort, so you can get yourself into the commentary booth, or if you don't think you want to talk about the game, we're looking for trackers on a regular basis. If you happen to know the technical details behind restreaming, well, having an extra restreamer in our back pocket could not hurt either. You can head over to the Speed Gaming Discord and learn more about that. But for now, for all of our runners, for my co-com Professor Render, for our trackers, Sapphire and Sorcerer Finch, I am MindDM saying, have a good one, everybody.
Take it easy.